Thanks, everyone. This set of poems is a snapshot from June to July of this year. So I deleted maybe 5 of them, but other than that, it's just a straight shot from mid-June to mid-July. There's 28 of them. And just a little background, I started writing when I was 19, 13 years ago, almost to the day. And I was isolated very much from friends and everyone except for immediate family, and I felt very lonely, and I found a lot of solace in writing. And since then, it's been bringing me to places like this, which has been wonderful. So this is a snapshot of June and July of this year. It is a quote of the mysterious seen through newly awakened eyes, a sudden echo of a melody long preceding this morning on the waterside. This scripture that seems to reoccur in the ancient shore. Now we're leaving land at signs of dawn. The movements of the boat repeat a story thought to be gone, and the patterns in the sand tell a story of before. The songs that were spoken in the tide. Now the sunlight seems to sing as the shadows grow. In the sudden sunrise, our eyes are new to read what the shoreline wrote. Thank you. In the gait of the wild horse is the same will that lifts the bird to flight, that pulls the vine from the ground and wraps it around the tree. It moves our hearts to motion, so simple at first, but below, a world of colors and shapes written in dreams, all akin to a liquid, a current on its course, to which we're often blinded. These streams, in which an ancient quality stirs, quench an ageless thirst, as one current darts to the next, subtle and free. A stream of silence and sound, a stream of perfect light that is never still, twisting with great force. It was an ageless hex that my boat would wash ashore, in an island in the deep, an eternal spell that brought me a stillness, a lull in the prosody of an ancient prayer, whispered in the breeze which flies off the deserted waters towards the mountaintop. This is where my boat wrecks. This is where I stop. Man and sky are wed on islands like these, and I will stare into the endless sea that becomes the darkness. Still where I fell, finding a sleep that I've never had before, sudden and complex. Silently I climbed aboard and headed away from the lake, upstream, away from the blessed children of this century, towards the mountain where I could see in a new way. I could see a peace silently weaving in the paths that we have led. I see how we warred. Generations of eternal bloodshed, it is of this that we sing. Above the currents that never cease, as night becomes of day and we gather the wood, the task of all men, to make light so we may see. We cannot rest, for there are paths to make and rivers to ford. I stand here to confess, not with a thirst for power, that I wish to be still. And the otherworldly force that drives my blood remains in motion. I am a slave to this motion, and my confession is that I will remain so, in this state of quiet and powerless, and I will wait for the blood to slow in each vein. For it is not my transgression, not I who forgave. I, like a boat in the ocean, in the wake of a flood, will be thrown along my course with this otherworldly will, the same that drives the moonflower to bloom in the darkness. I walked to the trees in the days before fall to hear the summer cicadas. I was overjoyed to hear them. I began to climb the tallest tree. I sat still, branch under my feet, I watched the river on its course, our daytime star reflected as all I will ever know. The tree was so tall, the valley so low. I could see so far. I felt as some different force drove my heart to beat, an otherworldly will. I could just be watching time return to a void, and sudden ideas return to nowhere at all. The morning sun today will accentuate the colors of our world and how they will shine, the surface of a deep reality existing above and below what we hear and see. We're on a boat, drifting along in time, and we feel at home here, but we really don't know where we are, floating on a stream whose colors communicate the meaning in the dream. There is a story there, a forgotten epic poem. The colors seem to rhyme in this story the ancient ages wrote. We drift through an eddy. We're captured by the undertow. But it is not time anymore to sleep. We must wake now. We cannot wait. An old woman kneels near where the waves used to break, when this desert was a sea. In prayer she bows her head. Eggs become flocks, and flocks become eggs. The altar fades in decay, to time's side. She prays to mend man, for he is broken. Old paint peels, and she prays to a hidden source, and cycles that never end. In comes the tide, she continues to pray, she begs. As dusk becomes of clocks, prayer and sky are wed, in a place aside eternity. She prays that we will wake to see what the sky reveals. In the old barn, mice scratch in the walls as she wakes, making their own nest. And she sees a bluebird, its repose a sage. On her eggs she sits, and she who woke sees the bluebird in her slumber. Near the dormant flowers she walks outside, lifting the latch, and hears in the dark the tide, observing otherworldly powers, their influences beyond number. And in the dark, the trees relate inhuman wits. The bark like a page, each crease a word. She cannot rest. Day breaks, and the eggs begin to hatch. I considered it an ageless hoax, that I should see in the smoke of the fire wandering beings of the night, keeping secrets that are also ageless, an illusion of the willing, to see them writhe and rise, alluding to myths of the real, truth hidden in ghostly images, created independently of the world we know. Now the fire is lit, now we coax them to where we sit. The images grow, and these homeless sages dance above to heal, twisting in our eyes. The images sing in the fleeting darkness. In the morning light, as we breathe and tire, an ember still smokes. Thank you so much.